In this unit 11 of 504, I want to discuss with you administrative governance and administrative law. I used to teach the course on administrative law in Canada, and so it's, one unit. It's a bit of a dry unit. It's a brutal summary of something that people study, for instance, at great length in law school, but has to do with something fairly important in the Canadian context, which is the good processes that exist and that are mandatory and mandated by law, and that agencies and government bureaucracies have to follow, which is good process. So we're looking at the rules and procedures and the standards, obviously, that are used in this regard for good decision making, and which is specific to Canada. In North America, to a certain extent, it has a history in the British empires, and so it has different facets. If you look at Australia, New Zealand, the US, and Canada, but in Canada, it's remained quite, sophisticated and developed. Another aspect, which is also important, is the role of tribunals. And obviously, administrative decisions can always be challenged, and so Canada has developed many different forms of tribunals to address, challenges to public decisions, basically. And some tribunals are much more focused on process, whereas other tribunals can almost act like courts and are able to look at both process, but also can look at the substance itself of the decisions. And so you discover that tribunals are not all equal. Certain tribunals are basically mandated to just review whether process, fair decisions, and what it is to have a decision that from a procedural perspective is fair and just, and also looking at decisions that from a substantive perspective follow Canadian principles, for instance, of the Charter and so on and so forth. So it's a bit of a dry unit, but I want to encourage you to look at some of the readings, and I'm not going to cite them here. You have Atkins and Carter and so on and so forth, but I want you to read them with, in a way, an open mind, so that you have a sense of what are the most important aspects. And the most important aspect that I would like you to leave the unit with, or the core issue, the core idea, the core issue, is that you have to remember that in Canada, process is everything. That no decisions can be, in a way, following and can be basically fair and just if it's not recorded and if it's not following basic standards. And I have seen over the years teaching when the school offered a course on administrative justice, a number of students come to me and say, we don't follow any process. Do we actually have to follow process? So I know I can see already some in the class laughing about this, right? Because we're bound to process. But even at university levels, we have process for almost every single decision, every single committee, and it is really important to follow this. So the big picture idea for me out of this unit is that none of you should actually doubt the importance of process in Canadian administrative work, decision-making, and you should also all have a sense of what administrative justice is all about in Canada. It's about good process at the very basis of everything. So look at the readings, and it's the last unit of the class. We'll have a fairly light discussion on this. I usually don't force the students to engage too much, but it's important that you do it well. And the reason I'm not pushing too much is that usually by this unit 11, you are all focusing extremely hard on your final report. And at this stage of class, you are also really focusing on the policy proposal and the conclusion of the report. And it's crunch time. So I wish you a wonderful unit, and I'll see you on the course space. Thank you very much.